What's up, folks? How's everyone doing? It's a glorious day for Bitwig users, isn't it? I think already Bitwig had one of the most advanced samplers if you're comparing built-in samplers to DAWs. Although, that being said, there were some kind of glaring difficulties. So, for example, it had granular mode, but the granular mode wasn't quite there. So most other granular synths offer a little bit more in terms of the envelope control and that kind of thing. And the slicing as well. Wow, this is absolutely awesome, because we did have the ability to slice into a multi-sampler, but it always felt a little bit awkward because slicing multiple or editing multiple slices across all of the different multi-samples, you had to kind of set up macros and just became a bit of a nightmare. So having like a single layer and then being able to edit parameters, I think is really, really insane. My Logify, Zen Lion, Suffist, Mind B, Marco, J. Peter, BRM. How's everyone doing today? Better than Serum 2. Well, I mean, it's hard to compare because Serum 2 is like a synthesizer, right? But Sampler, it has synthesis-like characteristics now, you know, with the new Spectral mode and that kind of thing, which we will explore. But I still think it's hard to compare the two, you know, very different things. If I wanted to slice a sample, then I probably wouldn't do it in Serum, even though you can. But if you wanted to like add sample slices to something that you already have in Serum, it's just nice to be able to do that, you know what I mean? I think let's just start off like really simple. Spectral granular stuff. So I feel like here there's a couple of special features which I think make it truly special, but to be honest, this is like my first time properly diving in. I've only just read through the testing notes, skipped through Polarity Stream to check a bunch of the highlights and stuff, and watched the introduction video. So I haven't quite put it to the test. So this is like a first exploration with you guys. I think let's just put in like a breakbeat and just try out the choppage. Control A. How you doing? Only software I used in software was SoundPaint. So I guess they're different because SoundPaint is kind of more like a contact type of thing, isn't it? Recent intro. So I guess it's 32. We just set the divisions and that's that. Oh, that's so sick. I mean, so many other samplers do this, but just having it kind of built into the DAW just makes things so nice for, you know, sharing projects, or if you have multiple systems, like copying projects, because sometimes you don't have like all of your plugins installed, right, on multiple systems. Okay, so I should have actually mentioned that it's a beta version, and so usually with first, it's beta 1, and so usually with beta 1, I don't suggest going into old projects because there might be something that like totally messes something up. You can just like immediately open and then save as, and it shouldn't affect any previous saved version, but I've had so many issues with trying betas and then stuff happens and now you can't get into the project and things have changed. And so I just generally suggest, like when trying out beta stuff for stability, start a new project almost always. Okay, so we're starting at like C-1 here, I think. Okay, it's C1 in Bitwig. Is it better than Ableton Sampler? I mean, it was already, wasn't it? It was already better. Because it was basically, it was like on par with Ableton Sampler, but then it also had multi-sample capabilities without having to do funky rack setups. But it also had granular synth thing, and it also had like a wavetable thing. And so now they've made this different granular modes. There's the ability to edit the envelopes of the granular stuff. There's now a spectral mode, slice mode. So it's crazy. Oh, okay. Hold on. So you can kind of combine sliced with the other stuff. So we can slice it and then have like textures. So now I think, and if we freeze it, it'll just play little grains. Oh, amazing. Oh, that's pretty clever how they've kind of given you the ability to slice. So like if you only want it to divide the slices on the white keys, you can do that, which I think is really clever. Because then you could have like two layers, one with the black keys and one with the white keys, and you can kind of trigger them, but also just like, I think it makes things a little bit easier. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. For those who don't know too much about like music theory and just want to play the keyboard and make crazy sounds. So I wonder if we can modulate this so it can kind of like do... No, we can't. We like pick a mode and that's it. But each of the samples, I believe, can have its own parameters. So if you're familiar with values for certain parameters, so each step in the slice. So if you're familiar with like electron style sequencing, they have a thing called parameter locks, where each step in the sequence can have like a different parameter assigned a different value. It's kind of like that. I guess also kind of like Bitwig's parsec. So if we just assign like P1 to like the sustain, then I think here we can actually draw in the P1 for each of the steps. So then on this step it'll have like higher sustain, and this step it'll have lower sustain. I mean, that's just an example, but pretty sweet. We should set it like halfway because it's bipolar. Yeah, for vocal chops, it would be insane. Because then you can kind of like give each chop its own decay and sustain and all that stuff. I think we got the groove slightly off time though, because it's so these should actually be on the 1 and the 3, I think. It's just a random energy drink from the corner shop, bro. No, I don't drink beer. I don't drink alcohol, bro. Go ahead, yeah, help yourself. Like. Okay, that's pretty sick that we have a pop-up window. I guess that makes things a lot easier. Oh, this is sick. This is sick. It's a similar thing to Phase Plant where you can sync the grains to the tempo. So that means for these choppy things, we should be able to freeze this. And then we can kind of just do... So instead of like playing each sample, it's basically just playing it in granular mode. And so I wonder then, can we like... Oh, repeats. Huh. No, that wouldn't work that way. I think we would have to change... you can sweep it. Okay, that's pretty sick. I believe both of the, to answer Sector 2's questions, choosing between Akai MPK Mini Plus versus Novation Launch Key 37, integration with Bitwig for those. I believe it's the same script. The Mossgrabber Bitwig script will work for both of those, I believe. I would personally go for the Launch Key 37 because it has more keys and they're the bigger ones. I'm not sure if that's the mini key version, but also I find specifically the MPK Mini, the knobs don't feel that great. The Launch Key is not amazing, but it just feels like a couple of steps up in terms of like build quality to me, like the knobs, the way that they feel. The MPK Mini that I've used, I mean, I don't think I've actually used a Plus before, so I'm not sure if there's any quality difference, but I believe it's the same kind of build. I might be wrong. I think we should add some kind of syncopation. I like how it's kind of like we've condensed the rhythm and it repeats, but I think like we should repeat it. We should repeat it a couple of times and then have some kind of variation. So I'm not sure if we should do it twice or... Let's have a look. Double content. Yeah, I actually think it should be 4, but we should have like some kind of mini version going on here. So a slight syncopation here. So maybe just a repetition. So we repeat 3 and then 3 again like that maybe. That horn sound, thank you. It's a pretty simple vital patch, just some unison and some envelope with quite a bit of attack on a filter. But the trick here is that I've got velocity controlling the attack amount and also the amount that that envelope is being applied to the filter. But then I've also got another layer here. I actually just introduced it now, which is like a base layer, which is also, it's being controlled by the same MIDI, but then it's a similar thing, but with a slightly different envelope. So it kind of gives it this offset where the horns are slightly off from the bass pluck, if you know what I mean. There's also like a high frequency pluck. It's also got some velocity, just adds a little bit of sparkle there. Sometimes it's nice, like when sketching out ideas, to kind of just link a bunch of instances to a single MIDI track, because then you can kind of like just play and you hear the full frequency sound. Do you know what I mean? So it kind of feels like playing one of those like arranger keyboards where you kind of just play a couple of notes and you hear the full thing. So I usually just like sketch out a drum beat, have a bunch of stuff linked to a single MIDI channel like that. So I put in a MIDI thing going here that was repeating, and then it's just got some randomization here with humanize, so that randomizes. It says init. It's an init patch, yeah. I made it like quickly, like while I was setting up the stream. And then velocity, which does random velocity curve. It does random like high. It basically just curves the velocity randomly between high and low. It kind of feels a bit off time though now that I'm hearing it with the beat. So obviously just put the MIDI notes in without any context. So let's maybe see if we can shift it up to fit what we're working on. Aren't we all, dude? We're just banging rocks together until it works, you know? The trick is to just like bang as many as you can. I've just banged millions of rocks together, so I figured out how to make the rock sound good, you know? So I have a rule, no coffee after midday. Otherwise, So I drink really strong coffee, so any of that after midday, no sleep. So, yeah. And, yeah, I mainly do my streams in the afternoon. Not proper coffee. Not the proper stuff, bro. But yes, actually, you're right. It's being hypocritical. It's being hypocritical. But yeah, it's like proper espresso with like a drop of milk. That's kind of how I have it. Like no sugar, anything. Just like straight up, as strong as I can grind it in the machine. I think maybe we do at this point split it up, because I'm finding like the control of the velocities. So like from this point, it's literally just dragging this and dropping it here, and then it'll create a new project with the processing and everything that we had. But one thing is that we just need to copy the note transpose here. This is the new layer. With MIDI and everything, pretty sweet. We should probably start looking at the Bitwig sampler sometime today. Holy. I'm just putting in a backtrack. I promise. Then we're gonna look at the sampler. Yeah, I mean that is technically the cleanest way to do it, right? So, because dither like adds stuff, and 32-bit float means that you have the highest amount of headroom, so you could literally clip it at, I think it's somewhere around 100 plus 100 dB, and you'd still be able to pull down the volume and retain the peak without any actual digital peak with 32-bit float. I believe it's somewhere around plus 100 or something. So 32-bit float, no dither, is the cleanest way to do it. However, it takes up the most space on the hard drive. So if that's a thing, 24-bit float, it's arguably no audible difference if you're not clipping. But notice I said it's technically the cleanest, but it's like, I mean, it's the I think probably the oldest argument in the book is like, does 16-bit, 24-bit, and 32-bit float sound different? Do you know what I mean? And like, do DAWs export? Do they sound different and that kind of thing? So like, I'm not going to stake my claim on that argument. I'm just saying that technically 32-bit float, no dither, is the cleanest way to do it. Because it doesn't add anything. You've got the most headroom. It's like the best option we have. Okay, we have some material I think that is good for samplage. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Okay, so let's try out the new granular mode, fragments. It's actually pretty funny because not long ago, I released a sample pack called Fragments, which is like just granular oriented samples. So it's like stuff that's designed to be used in granular synths. Just funny, I guess. Great minds. But previously we just had textures, which notice is like similar. We have grain size and motion, but now they've just added a bunch more stuff. So like we have control over the envelope. Pretty cool how there's a little warning that pops up. It gets brighter as you clever as you do that. Well, so answer Mylogify about the bigger rates being more beneficial for film music when the sound is stretched. That is not bit rate. You're thinking of sample rate. So it's not necessarily just for film music. In this example, actually, funnily enough, we're looking at some sounds here. The fragments was a lot of the sounds were recorded at 192 kilohertz, which is I think it's about 8 times higher than what is like the standard. So it means that you can pitch it down by 8 times and still retain high frequency content. And the reason is that because when you pitch a sound down, like a regular sound, actually, let me pull up a spectrum here real quick. And just set it to repitch mode. The moment you pitch something down a lot, all the harmonics kind of just go downwards, but there's nothing above the frequency range that comes in. Anything that you hear there is just like this harmonic folded back. But if you record the sound at a higher sample rate, when you pitch it down, the stuff that you don't hear is still there in the sample. And when you pitch it down, it just comes down. So it's like, the easiest way to explain it is like you're just adding extra partials. You don't hear them in the recording, but then when you shift it around with granular synths and stuff like that, you can still hear the high frequency. I guess that's the easiest way to explain it. Okay, so this is the sound that we recorded out, dropped in here. Okay, it's being pitched. We may not want that because it's kind of like the sound, it was like a melody with a bunch of processing on it and stuff. We kind of want to retain the sample's natural pitch and then just maybe add extra grains or make the grains larger. Okay, let's freeze it as well. Ah, finally, we can have multiple grains. That was another thing with the textures. It's a single grain thing, so it didn't have the traditional density control that we see in most granular synths. So you could kind of set it up with this voice stacking stuff. But again, like I was saying in the beginning, these kinds of things are a little bit awkward. Sometimes it's just nice to put the sound in, turn up the density so you have like a cloud of grains rather than having to actually set up each of those instances of grain, right? Maybe we can pitch shift it a bit now that we have this more, it sounds more tonal. Oh, that's sick also. Previously, the pitch of the grains was linked to its speed. Now we have individual control over both so that we can kind of get each grain now is pitched rather than the whole thing being slower. I think there we just do something simple like held notes, like the C and the octave, or in this case it's transposed, so it's the sequence was in F, I think. It's crazy to think that that pad came from this sound. This is like the raw sound. gotta be right back, folks. I need to run to the bathroom and grab a quick refill. Stick around for 2 minutes. I'll be back. I'll be back, I promise. Wait, what have I done? There we go. What should we explore next in the sampler? I think we should explore the spectral mode. I mean, that looks really exciting. Yeah. Okay. I will see you guys shortly. I think here, instead of this bass copying the lead, I think I want to make just like a more sort of minimal subby bass. I think we'll just do it with Vital, to be honest. Probably just basic shape sine. A bit of glide, and then we pitch it down. Although sometimes working in these really lower keys with subs like this, if you've got a lot of pads and stuff going on in the track, sometimes the sub gets a bit lost. or when suddenly you change notes, it's like feels like the volume suddenly jumps. So if you add just a little bit of noise and saturation, it can kind of really help to not for that jump to not be as apparent. The trick is then to just give it some post, so it's like back in the subs. There's no more of the high frequency introduced from the saturation. I do. Sorry, sometimes I just get like so in the zone. When I start doing like bass or kick stuff, it's just hyperfocus. Hyperfocus mode. Whoa. Holy. That is insane. Wait a sec. Hold on. Dynamic root pitch for samples. What on earth? That is crazy. So it'll automatically detect the sample's root pitch. And so depending on like where we drop this, it'll change the root note. Obviously that's like this is now like the reverb tail of the sample, but that's insane. That's insane. Wow. I know there's all sorts of other crazy stuff we can do, like reharmonizing, where we can set it so each of the partials is quantized to a scale, global key. Holy, that is so sick. So here we would set something like F minor, and now all of these partials will be, I mean, it's weird, but I mean, I'm sure it'll work nicely with other samples. This is just like a Duduk sample. Huh. Oh, that's mind blowing. Like, I hate to use those kind of like adjectives on YouTube. Game changer, mind blowing. Actually, I don't. But like, you can change the amount of spectral reharmonization. So like, you can go from atonal to tonal. Wait, let me find a sample that I think would probably work better with this, because the sample here is already quite tonal. So let me find something that's like totally... Okay, something like that, which is just kind of like sounds noisy. And then what we'll do is we'll go dynamic root and reharmonize. I wonder if we need to, if it'll still work. It kind of does, but I think, yeah, here it works much better. We even have settings here in the inspector: quality, phase dispersion, and live performance mode for the Spectral. So you can obviously clean it up at the expense of CPU. I'm trying to figure out here, enable formant processing. What does that then allow us to do? Can we somehow draw in formants, or can we process effects on individual formants? It's not that clear. Hold on, let me see. Show help. Process formants, toggles formant processing on with pre-configured values. Okay, so I guess that's... okay, so I think that's just for the pure and not for the reharmonized, because here, when it says pure, this is with formants. Yeah, that basically just enables that. Okay, it's kind of weird that it's still open in this. Maybe it does do something, I just can't hear it. Who knows? But so we can take the sound and then make it kind of like more chaotic. And then kind of slowly shift in that, the amount of spectral. Oh, that's so sick. They've also expanded like the looping menu, it seems. That's pretty sick. Exit immediately, continue freely. That's obviously, I think, about like the release. So when you release, does it continue looping or does it go outside the loop now and do the release tail? That's pretty sick. Oh, you know what? I just realized as I'm doing this, I'm like, let me set up. So like the old method was to set up this play offset with like something like velocity or something like that, and it just dawned on me that we actually have sliced mode with the spectral stuff. Huh. That is so sick because we can now slice and repitch. Let's say, I wonder if we can do onsets. Oh man, holy. And now it'll all just kind of like spectrally reharmonize in key each of these chops. Oh man, that's so sick. Oh, dude. That is so sick. It's like a totally disgusting, noisy sound into something that's like got harmony. It's crazy. The control room, so that's basically like where I keep all my like output stuff. So I use Sound ID reference for room correction, and then this basically sends the audio to the stream, and then that's like a limiter. So like just the basic output stuff. The reason I do it is so that I can bounce from my master without any other stuff on there. Do you know what I mean? So the master channel, it's actually here, sends to the control room, and then the control room sends the output. So I can go bounce, and I don't have to actually turn off any plugins that are on or anything like that, and I'll just get like a clean audio signal without any correction. If that makes sense. I think if we're trying to make like pads and that kind of thing, we may actually want to just leave that retain onsets, because I think what this is doing is it's reintroducing the transient back into the sound. So we'll get a sort of more pure harmonic sound with that off, I think. Do you mean quantum motion? Do you mean this here, where it allows some of the transient back in again? I feel like for this particular sound, it was like dirtying it up a little bit, but it was really it was really cool with that previous. There was like that sound recorded from scraping a chain, actually. Cool, Zenline, have a good one. Hey, Ty, how's it going? I wonder if these can be... Oh, holy. These step parameters can modulate effects that are in the effects chain. What the heck? So, like, we could modulate some delays here based on, like, step stuff that's happening here. Jonas, I should have actually mentioned, I was meaning to mention that kicks. I'm going to be doing a deep dive on creating kicks from scratch. So mainly using Sonic Academy's Kick 3, but most of the stuff that I'll be talking about can be used in various of the other kick drum synthesizers, Kick 2. I guess the main thing about Kick 3, the difference is that it has the import thing, but I'm going to kind of just be talking about creating the samples, the kicks from scratch, rather than the whole import thing that I've been talking about in some prior videos. And that's the sound of when a robot drinks a magic potion. What is going on? Okay, so I guess the trick, or I guess the goal now is to make a bunch of weird sounds and then bounce that out and try reharmonize it and kind of make more weird sounds and then reharmonize it until like we're basically just making something completely different tonally. Oh, that is so sick. I think we can also, yes, we can manually put in, slices. Can we move them? I guess it's this here at the top. Oh, okay. So you can slice and then we can edit. Oh, that is really cool. The sample is picking up like billions of slices, so I'm not sure if it's going to work in this exact example. Drag note clip into project. What is that going to do? Oh, okay. Just it's going to give us the two slices. Okay. So basically to recreate what you've sliced so you can quantize it again. Okay, that's pretty sick. What? on this, what I had here, it's this button here. Sometimes the Bitwig device will have this that allows the pop-up window. No, this is not Psytrance, to be honest. I have no idea what this is. No clue. Some kind of trip-hoppy, breaky thing. Some kind of something. When I saw slice modes in the sampler, my first thought was like chop up a breakbeat. Like it's what we're all hoping to be able to do very quickly, I guess. So I was like, I guess probably the first thought on a lot of people's minds, like with the slice mode, chop up a breakbeat, glitch it up, that kind of stuff. Hey, wait, that's actually what made this drum beat here. That's how we did this. There are obviously influences of Psytrance here, like the effects and the pads and that kind of thing are similar sounds to what I'd probably use in that context. Holy, that sounds so good. This thing is going to be so well used in like game design and sound effect design. Like you can just hear all these weird sounds and stuff from just like modulating stuff out of control. It's just very much sounds like that sort of sci-fi game UI interface sound kind of aesthetic. So good. Okay, I gotta be right back. I will be back in 2 minutes. Don't go anywhere. I'll see you very shortly. should see how it fares with like just sort of more normal sound sources. Like for example, I'm typing source. Like we just make like a hypersaw kind of thing, make a chord, see how it does with that. Ah, mic is on. Sorry about that. It's quite soft, so I'm going to normalize and then bounce in place and then drop it in, so we get a nice loud sample in there. So we're not going to slice this one. We just want it as is. And at C, and then let's try Spectral reharmonize without the root pitch stuff, because we don't need that. It's just a basic... The pitch remains the same all the way through. Global key. It's kind of weird. It sounds like it detects it at F, even though we've set the root to C here. Kind of strange. I guess it actually doesn't matter, because whatever, it's going to reharmonize whatever partials we have to the scale anyway, so it actually doesn't matter. Oh, that is actually so cool to modulate. It kind of creates this weird pitch shifty kind of effect. That's crazy. It does this weird, like, high end, like, kind of thing. Can you hear that? It's so interesting how we just that was like a saw wave, just a static sound, and we loaded it up here, and there's so many different timbres that we can kind of try extract from here. And it's obviously because the saw wave had like heavy detune and all sorts of other stuff on there, and each of these little spectral processes and stuff is kind of like using all that extra detune information, and that's what's creating all the different timbres that we can sweep through here. So I wonder if we like clean up the sound here, detune it less, have less oscillators, then do we get more of a kind of pure tone? That's so weird. It's trying to bounce it post fader. And so if something is soloed, it doesn't seem to import the sample. That's kind of weird behavior. I'm sure they'll fix that. I actually kind of prefer it on all sorts of weird, like granular sources, because you kind of throw noisy things in there, or maybe like rhythmic things, and extract other sort of sounds from them. Oh, we also have this, I saw it earlier, this zero crossings. That's pretty sick. So there still might be clicks. I think if we give it some release, maybe less so. Oh no, because it's not actually going to finish the sample. I wonder... oh, that's the loop setting where it says continue freely. Well, what we can do is just extract the transient, I think. And then maybe... Oh, that's actually pretty sick. Idea, we can go duplicate, no. Group, Control G. Duplicate, and then this one we can try extract just like part of the body. I wonder if there's anything new in cycles mode. There is, haha. We have a partials mode, that's pretty sweet. Partials, FM, pretty crazy. wonder why this sound. Oh, because this is being tuned to F. So we should also maybe tune the MIDI of this one going in. That is certainly not the sound, though. Maybe. There we go. Huh. Eat. The voice on the brow starts to sleep. You know, it's also time to tune the chops. Dude, I'm so stoked. So, we had that crazy storm not long ago, and a tree went flying. One of the big trees in my yard went flying, and absolutely decimated my braai area, like gone. And just now got the guy to finish building it and everything, and this weekend is the first time I'm actually gonna braai in forever. I'm gonna try combine these modes actually, where the spectral we don't have to reharmonize it because we're just using it for the transient. So the actual sound itself is playing so short, I don't think we perceive the pitch of it anyway. I feel that it actually sounds better. We get more of that clicky high end without reharmonizing it. Let's maybe see if we can make a fake reverb tail here with the fragments. Oh, that is sick. We can also maybe do like a rattle kind of layer here with the same transient. Set this to fragments mode. Let's try use this envelope. Yo, they finally fixed the filter. The filter in Sampler was not good. Yep, it's so much better. It's so much better than the one in Renoise. It's basically like its own synth now. Okay, so we can also have separate velocity controls for each of these because we've set them up into layers. I think that could be pretty cool. Where like the texture layers, we can just have Recursive sampling. Just sample the sample, then resample it. I wonder, do we have... There's no normalize here, but we can just gain it up here. Oh, that sound is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Just imagine like that build up and then ding dong and then the drop. Ah. I think we should do it over 8 bars, maybe. 8. And then right at the end here, we have a part where it kind of flattens out so we can hear the ding dong. I think with these kinds of things, it's sometimes pretty hard to work with because you kind of want to time it on the beat. So I usually extend the MIDI a little bit and then we can play with this. So like put this on the beat. So it's kind of like it will land on the beat. But here we actually have one looks like it's got some kind of ping pong thing going on. So maybe what we do is we try land the stereo one on the beat. And then here we can just do that kind of something like that. Oh, looks like we got another perfect sample for sampler. Ding dong. Sample time. That's a pretty sweet, like, tension ambient sound. No, it can't be done in Ableton. The thing is, like, already Bitwig Sampler was like way ahead than Ableton Sampler, so now it's like leagues. So I mean, there are probably plugins that can do similar things. You know what I mean? Like, you can do similar things with Serum. Obviously not exactly the same. They're slightly different to the way the granular stuff works, but similar things. Are you asking, is there one? Or are you saying we should put one? I think that's where I'm actually going to call it for today. I think that's where I'm going to call it. I think we've covered quite a bit of what is available and more. I obviously will do some videos, probably not covering like the update, because I mean it's still beta and it's not official. It's not officially released yet. So, but when it's out of beta, I'll definitely do some more tutorial-based stuff, like how to make this sound with the new features, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Thanks everyone for tuning in. It's been really awesome. I will let this loop once or twice. We've actually got here testing notes. You know what? Actually, now that I'm looking at this, I'm realizing that I didn't even talk about some of the other new stuff, like the new tuner device, which is pretty sick. So, I mean, it's a normal thing, but Bitwig for the longest time hasn't had a built-in tuner, so that's pretty sick that we've got that. We've also got it available as a grid module. And look at this. From here's tuner and grid module. And then all of this is sampler stuff. All of this. Keep going, keep going. Oops, it jumped. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Some more. A little bit more. There we go. A lot of new stuff. So we probably missed a couple of things, but I mean, like, I think we gave it a good run. I think we gave it a very good run. Yeah. Thank you everyone for tuning in. I'll let this loop once or twice for those who do want to stick around and hear the final results of what we made. I will see you guys next week. Have a good one. By the way, Wednesday. I think it's next week Wednesday. Yeah, is next week Wednesday the last Wednesday of the month? It is. Next week Wednesday, I'm doing my Patreon seminar. Like I mentioned earlier, we'll be deep diving into creating kick drums from scratch. So hopefully see you guys there or next week Friday. Have a good one.